Hey everybody, this is Mitch Germain, aka Serenity Spider Monkey. Um, I want to bring you guys another deck profile. This is going to be my Primo / Placido deck profile. I'm focusing on Mechlord Emperor Wisel. Primo doesn't have enough cards for even a 40 card deck, really. So I had to duplicate and triplicate some cards, and even then I had to include a whole other engineer to make the deck uh, pretty much playable. So Primo's all like Valin in a way, where his cards form together to make something, you know, bigger, but for some reason, well, they don't put any of Valin's cards, and they don't print really any of Primo's cards either, besides Mechlord Emperor Wisel. So I kind of had to get creative and uh, give, I don't know, his deck something I thought that thematically was kind of the same thing. So you'll see what archetype I chose when we get there, but I think it's pretty neat. Um, First up, I got two copies of the Big Boss himself, Mechlord Emperor Wisel. Um, yeah, Mechlord Emperor Wisel. Um, he does have his whole like monster absorbing effect, so that's really nice. He can only be summoned when a monster in your field is destroyed by card effect. So I had to add, like, as you'll see, I added a ton of cards to this deck that helped me with that. Um, uh, Soul? Um, I don't know. I like this card, but I do wish Konami would have just given us his parts as individual cards. That would make this deck so much more, more fun and like a lot easier to make. But yeah, yeah. Uh, on that point, Konami, if you ever give us like Valen's cards, please give it, give us like all his like the separate monsters instead of just like one combined full armor suit or whatever, because that's kind of lame. Yeah. So yeah, two Mechlord Emperor Wisel. And yeah, if Konami does ever give us the individual Wisel parts, I am taking this deck apart and building it with the separate parts. 100%. Um, Mechlord Army of Wisel, I have him in free. He gains attack points for every other Mechlord monster on the field. This deck doesn't have that much because I wanted to keep it true to Primo. But yeah, this guy can get decently powerful, I guess. He can inflict piercing damage, I guess, which is nice. I'm not really sure if any of his effects mimic any of Weisel's actual parts. I'm kind of clueless on that. um, so yeah, this next guard I actually took from Primo's his Ghost Army slash his Diablo. 3 copies of Ally Salvo. When it's destroyed by with a light monster, you can select 2 cards in the field and destroy them. I I actually really love how it was used in the Battle Royal with it was an army of ghosts versus Sherry, Mr. Ellsworth, and you say uh, the army, the ghost army, like they all summoned Ally Salvo. Uh, they nuked the field with its special ability, and then the rest of the Ally Salvos just pretty much they pretty much like basically just assaulted like Sherry and Ellsworth with continuous direct attacks until they lost because all of them like they had at least 10 of these bad boys on the field, so like and their attack points are 400, so yeah. I really liked that strategy, and unfortunately this deck doesn't really have a way to duplicate that because yeah, you can only have 3 of a copy of one card in your deck, so um but yeah, I do have some way of making use of Alisalvo, just not as much as Primo and his Ghost Army did. So yeah, really cool card though. I love it. Next is this is I took this actually from uh, Primo's appearance in the Legacy of the Duelist video game. Just 2 copies of Destruct Potion. It's just a really cool trap card. I like it a lot, and it's useful in Primo's deck. And it helps you gain life points back. So I'm all for that. Just 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 generic machine support also for the strategy. Limiter removal can work really well with Army of Wisel. But yeah, it's mostly just used to blow up your field. uh, yeah, 2 copies of Reboot to get back a Mechlord. The downside is you need to send a Mechlord card back to your deck and from your hand, and this deck doesn't have many Mechlord monsters. Uh, Mech Timed Blast basically does the same thing as Ally Salvo does, uh, but specifically Mechlord cards. Um, Next we got 3 Mechlord Nucleus Infinity Core. Um, I tried to stay away from cards that um, Aporia used, but I don't know. It's a useful, I guess, and I'm really only using this as a stand-in for, in this deck specifically, I'm using it for a stand-in for Wise Core. So yeah, that's why this is in here. If we ever get Wise Core in the TCG, I'm taking this out immediately. um, One Boon of the Mechlord Emperor. Primo uses it in Tag Force, so it's gonna free. Oh, not Tag Force. He might use it in Tag Force, I guess, but Duel Links. Uh, Again, just like that, he uses this card, Duel Links, Mechlord Factory. Another card I really enjoy. Primo doesn't use this card, but One Alchemist of the Doomed. One Chaos Infinity. one DNA transplant to switch every monster in the field to, in this case, would be specifically a light attribute. I thought I actually owned this card before this. Turns out I didn't. Yeah, so I actually had to buy this card. Not fun. One Mechlord Fortress. Primo didn't actually use this card, but one Mechlord Deflection. Again, probably more of a Aporia card, but I don't know. It's fine. Mechlord Assembly. We got Grinnell on the card, but yeah. When I finish my Jacob deck, I definitely putting this card in there too. Just generic support card in the deck. Pot of Hours. I really like the card. You can shuffle 5 monsters back into your deck, then draw 2 cards. Why this card isn't banned and Pot of Greed is, and Gristle Charity is, I'll never know. I'm not complaining though. Next 2 cards we got Genix Ally Crusher. I believe Primo might actually use this in. I want to say he uses it in the Tag Force games. So yeah, Genix Ally Crusher can actually destroy a monster in the field with its effect, so that actually helps with the Mech Lords too. Next, Genix Ally Bell Flame. I don't know, I just like the Gen X Ally cards. I guess they look pretty cool. Gen X Ally Solid. Gen X Ally Remote. Gen X Ally Reliever. A bit harder to summon at level 5, but Gen X Ally Power Cell. Gen X Ally Charger. So if for whatever reason I can't get a DNA transplant, he can help by switching attributes too. So and Gen X Ally Volcanon. Want to know if read out that I'm not using the synchro monsters in this deck because I just feel that would go against Primo's whole character and the whole point of his deck. So I'm not running the Gen X Ally synchro monsters, even though I very well could. Which is why I decided to not use the 2 Gen X Ally tuners either. Finally, we got Mechlord Army Deployer Obligado. The final Primo card we got here. Mechlord Army Wisel Synchro Absorption. Just a very pretty artwork. Final 2 cards we got Cyberjar. Once again to help nuke the field. Some Mechlord Wisel, and just final card Assault on Yeah. So anyway, well, that was my 40 card Primo slash Placido deck. Let me know what you guys think. Primo's actually one of my favorite characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Um, he's probably my favorite character that Jason Griffith voices, even more than Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog. I just, I love Primo, man. He's just awesome. um, so, yeah. That was my Primo deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. See ya.